Welcome to Joffy Noodle Legs and the Horror House.
Hello guys, welcome to the channel and welcome to another movie review. Tonight we're looking at supernatural horror film by Ti West called House of the Devil. Now this is the second sight release of the film, which comes with the film in Blu-ray. It comes with a set of art cards, and it comes with a wonderful perfect bound booklet. That's cool. But before we get on to about the film, let's have a little look at the special features. So this is the main screen for House of the Devil. So we're going to have a little look at the special features on this film. We've got an audio commentary with writer-director Ti West and actor Jocelyn Donahue. Audio commentary with writer-director Ti West, producers Larry Fessenden, Peter Falk, and sound designer Graham Resnick. The Right Vibe, an interview with director Ti West. Satanic Panic, an interview with actor Jocelyn Donahue. Slow Down is Death, an interview with actor AJ Bowen. A-Level of Ambition, an interview with producer Peter Falk. An enduring title, an interview with producer Larry Fessenden. It All Feels Appropriate, an interview with director and photographer Elliot Rocket. Hiding the Seams, an interview with composer Jeff Grace. Writing Through Sound, an interview with sound designer Graham Resnick. The Night Changed Everything, the making of the House of the Devil. In the House of the Devil. Deleted scenes. Trailer. And that's it. So that's all your special features in the House of the Devil. Well, as you can see, it's got quite a number of special features, which is good. Second Sight normally do put a nice bound of special features on the film, and this one is no different. There's quite a few interviews and an audio commentary. So let's get on to the story. So this is one of Ti West, I think one of his earlier films, and it's based in the 1980s. But it looks very much like a 1970s. It's neither, but it's one of his. I think it's like 2000 or something. This film came out, 2007, something like that, and it's about a young girl called Samantha, played by Jocelyn Donahue, and she's a student in the town, and she's just renting a place from the landlady, played by the horror queen Dee Wallace, as we see at the beginning. And she's renting out this house, and she's talking to her friend, her roommate, played by Heather Robb, and her friend Megan, played by Greta Gerwig, and she's trying to find work so she can afford to stay in this place. And one day when she's at university, she's strolling about, as she does pretty much in the whole film. 1 minute she's this way, 1 minute she's walking that way, then she's going to her room, and she's going out, and she's walking that way, and she sees on the board a notice, babysitter wanted. So she grabs the phone number from this this sort of piece of paper with phone numbers on it. You just rip one off, and she calls it up, asking for a job, but no one answers. And then she walks away from the public phone, and as she does head towards the university, the phone rings, and she goes back and answers it, and it's a man on the phone, Mr. Ullman, played by Tom Noonan. Now, Tom Noonan starred in the original Hannibal Lecter film called Manhunter. He was the serial killer in that film. And he's asking her to come and babysit for her, and he's going to give her, some sort of good money. Anyway, he arranges to meet her outside the university He says he's new to the town, he doesn't know it very well. And she goes and waits outside the university and waits and waits and waits, and he never turns up. And so he in the end she gives up and goes away and meets up with her friend Megan, and they go for pizza and Coke at a local sort of diner place. And Megan thinks, the geezer's an arsehole by not turning up, and he thinks that Samantha should go around taking all the posters off everywhere so he can't get anyone to babysit. But she says, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not my way. But she's saying, I really need a job. And she's like, oh, I really need a job too. How am I going to pay all this rent? And her friend's being reassuring. Megan, she's quite sweet. And she's sort of like saying, look, you'll find a way. It's going to be fine. And all this sort of thing. And then then Samantha goes back to her partner where she's staying with her roommate. And the roommate wakes up and tells her, oh, you had a phone call. And she went and she left a number. So she rings the number, and it's Mr. Ullman again. And he's apologising. He said that something come up, he couldn't do it. And he asked her if she could come and babysit tonight. He would give her $100 if she'll do it tonight. And obviously, because she's so tempted by the money, she agrees to go and sort of like babysit. And Megan, her friend, very kindly drives her to this house. And we're on that sort of road trip out to this house. The film is now about nearly halfway through the film by now. There's lots going on, sort of like character building. And they drive, and then Megan admits to Sam that she pulled down all the posters. So Samantha knows why she's got the job. Anyway, we then arrive at the house, which is this amazing, really creepy looking house. Not too dissimilar to the house in Don't Go in the House. It's got that sort of feel to the house, very creepy looking. Anyway, they arrive and they go up to the door and they knock on the door, and Mr. Ullman answers the door. And in they go. And this is where the film sort of changes. Anyway, Mr. Ullman has a conversation with her, saying that he doesn't need her to babysit. It's for her mother. And the mother's played by Danielle New. And she doesn't want to babysit at first, but he starts offering her loads of money, $200, then $300. So she gets greedy and says $400. And he agrees to it. Now, Megan is really upset by it all, and she leaves the house. Says, how can you do this sort of thing? If we said if they were creepy, we're not going to do it. And he is creepy. If you know Tom Noonan, he's about 7 foot tall, really skinny, and and he's just like had this real sort of like drawn sort of looking chap, and he is quite scary to look at. But anyway, she says, well, it's $400. I need this. It's going to change everything for me. Just come back at midnight. Megan agrees. So off she goes, and in he goes. And then we meet Mrs. Ullman, played by Mary Woronov, who plays an amazing role in this. She's not in it very long, but she's very, very memorable. So is Mr. Ullman, though. They're both very memorable. And they sort of talking to her about the mother and stuff like this, saying you're going to be all right and stuff like this, and here's half of the money, we give you the other half when we come back. There's more money there for pizza, there's a phone number on the fridge for the pizza, and all this sort of stuff. And off they go. They're up there. Now, the premise of this story here is there is a eclipse happening. This is what Mr. and Mrs. Ullman are going to, this eclipse, because they're Satanists, and they're off to this eclipse thing. Meanwhile, Megan is on her way back to town, and she pulls over at this graveyard for some bizarre reason, and she tries to light a cigarette, and she can't. And then we get a jump scare, and it's some chap, we don't find out his name is, but it's played by Daryl Nall, and he starts talking to her and offers her a light. And when he realises she's not the babysitter, he kills her. And that's all I'm going to tell you. So what is going on? So we've got these Satanists that have gone out to follow this eclipse. We've got Samantha who's supposed to be babysitting a mother, but we don't get to see her yet. We've got this random guy who's killing her best friend. So what is he doing? Is he a part of this, or is he trying to stop this, whatever satanic thing's going on this night? And what is going to happen with Samantha in this house? You need to watch it and find out. So let's go on to the characters. So Samantha, the main character, played by Jocelyn Donahue, she is fantastic. She is really pretty. But the whole film, she's got an absolute feather up her arse. She cannot sit down for 1 minute to do anything. When she's babysitting, she's walking around the house, playing with the little piano, goes and sits down, gets up, tries to phone her friend, doesn't answer, goes to sit down, gets her school books out, puts them down, goes up, phones for a pizza, and all this. She cannot sit down for the whole film. She's out and about everywhere. She's like, what? Sit down for 2 minutes. But she's really cool, and she plays it well, really convincing. She plays it quite scared. She reminds me a lot of the female actress in Suspiria. Now, Megan is really cool as well, her friend. She's really sweet and a real good friend, and a little bit tougher than her. Samantha's got this little bit of OCD going on, I think, and she sort of like looks out for her. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Ullman are incredible. They're really, really cool. Tom Noonan is really creepy, and Mrs. Ullman, played by Mary Woronov, is cool. I really like her character. Just a shame they weren't in it very much. But there are other characters in the film. Obviously, we got the landlady, Dee Wallace, at the beginning, but we don't see her again. And we've got like the guy who's like that kills Megan, and we've got the mother who we see later in the film. They're all played really, really well. So let's go to the final verdict. This is an amazing watch, and I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. It's awesome. It's awesome. It would have got a 10, but here's why it doesn't. But first of all, before I tell you why it doesn't, this film is probably, I believe, Ti West's best film he's made. It's an absolute gem of a horror film. It has a real old school feel to it. It's supposed to be set in the 80s, but it looks more like the 70s. While saying that, a lot of it, the way the characters are dressed, like the teen girls, it's very John Carpenter's Halloween. But when I'm watching it, I see so many influences in it. I can see Suspiria, the big influence in the film. He obviously influenced by that film to make this. I see When a Stranger Calls. I see Black Christmas. I see all these films like Satan's Blood and Satan's Slave. I can see all these influences that are on Ti West when he made this film. He wears it on his shoulder, I think, and it's really cool. And it's made a classic horror film. This, to me, is a classic horror film. It's definitely one of the best horror films of this sort of modern age. It's got a real old, and it's only because it's probably got that old school feel. Now, Ti West has made other mediocre horror films like X, Pearl, Maxine. They're very mediocre. They're all sort of 7, 8 out of 10 films. This is a 9 out of 10, nearly a 10 out of 10. So it loses a point for the pacing. Now, the film needed to be a little bit longer. It runs for about an hour and a half. It could do an extra quarter of an hour because it starts off really well with a lot of character building. So halfway through the film, we then meet our Satanists. And we would have been great to have had a bit more time with them to understand and get to know them, especially Mrs. Ullman. It would have been very cool. And then we get to the last part of the film, and it's like rush, 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 end. And that's kind of like what it happens to at the end. And so much happens in the last 10 minutes. There's a lot of gore. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of creepiness. There's a lot of, not Scooby-Doo moments, but, this is what's happening at the end. But it's all in 10 minutes. I would have liked that to have been spread out over 25 minutes, just so it could have made the horror element more horrible and terrifying. And this film is terrifying. It's full of wonderful, wonderful moments. The house is so creepy. When Samantha goes up the stairs moan and creak as she walks up, as she's investigating, spying around the house, going around, looking around, when she hears these noises coming from upstairs, which she thinks the mother. She sees all, and she's creeping around the house, and the staircases is only lit by moonlight coming through these stained glass sort of windows on the stairways. It just gives a real big atmosphere, and the lighting sort of shines on Samantha's face and then goes off and shines on. It's really well filmed. Some of the camera angles are a little bit, what are you doing? Like when she goes to the apartment with her roommate, we only see the legs. It's just like, what's that about? But a lot of the other parts of the photography is fantastic. And the film is a real sort of grippy, tense horror film. And I found it, so there's a few jump scares, and I found the storyline amazing, but rushed. But that's why it's lost that point. If they would have spread out, like I had another 10 minutes to the film, so we got to see more of an ending instead of like all rush, 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 bang, bang, shove, kill, bang, gone, end. If it had been a bit more paced, I think this would have definitely been a 10. But I highly recommend it. This, I think, is still available, the collector's edition. It's not cheap. I think it's about £35–40, but the standard Blu-ray, which you can buy, which will be that, is going to be about £16.99, £17.99. That seems to be the average price for Second Sight films. And there we go, House of the Devil. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below. If you haven't, go and check it out. And if not, check out some other horror channels. Check out Horror Hands, Horror Geek, Man v Film, RS Design, Pizzlewell. I'm Ice Little Cat, watches horror movies, Grumpy Andrews, Haunted House, and The Maniac. And a massive shout out to my lad. Till next time, look after yourselves. Look after one another, and I really hope I see you all soon.